Hello, hello, hello. Well, I just got off being the keynote speaker, a virtual keynote speaker for a huge women in sales conference. Oh my God, y'all, that's like my favorite thing to do because I truly believe that you can sell your way out of poverty. You can sell your way out of bad circumstances. You can sell your way into making millions and millions of dollars. Um, and I think it's probably one of the most underutilized skill by people all over the world. So this sales conference, there was I don't know, they said 6 to 7,000 registrants from all over the world. So I was talking to people from South Africa and London and America, and Australia, Canada, Mexico. I mean, you name it, they were on there. And it was absolutely one of the highlights of my career because everybody's at a different place in their sales journey. And people are at a different place in their career journey. And I'll take you back to my career, without, a big formal education or anything like that. I really got started selling cars. And I kind of did it out of necessity versus really wanting to go sell cars for a career. I'd had my car stolen in Dallas, Texas, and I had no way to get another car. And so back then in the mid 80s, if you sold cars, you got a demo to drive. So like, why not? Why not, get a job selling cars? And, that way, you'll have a demo to drive. So that's what I did. But what I learned is that I could take, I could help people, right? I was helping people with their transportation needs. I was solving problems for people and I was getting paid for it. And I was getting paid a whole lot more for it than I was getting with my other job, which was at a mall, and I was selling skirts. And I think the minimum wage back then was it was $4 or $5 an hour. Okay. And so I figured out that I could go work 8, 10, 12 hours a day, which is the car business back then, still is, let's be frank. And I could make $100, $200, $300, $500 a day. And on the most part, my clients walked out and they were really happy. They had a smile on their face. They had a brand new car. I solved a problem. And hey, Alex. And so I was like, okay, like there is something to this selling thing. So I sold cars for a few years. And then from that, I did really well. And I did well because I wasn't salesy. I was just me. I was authentic. And so, by the end of this, I'm going to tell you the 5 traits of what I think a great salesperson must possess, men or women. And so, I was making money. So I got promoted to the finance department. So what was I doing in the finance department? I was selling money, right? I was selling the services that kept the car on the road, the warranties, the life insurance, and the actual financing for the car, because most people don't have the money to pay cash for a car. So I learned how to sell money. And then from selling money, I thought, well, why not get in the mortgage business? Because now I can make people's dreams come true. So I spent about 15 years, all in all, in the mortgage business. I'm back in it now, by the way, but that's a segue. So I did that for 14 or 15 years. So then what did I do at that point? I financed the American dream. But I learned how to sell against my competitors, against the big boys, Bank of America and Wells Fargo. Because what happens when you call Wells Fargo and you have a problem? 1-800 Wells Fargo, they're probably putting you offshore to China or India or somewhere where they've got a call center versus the fact that somebody could call me, right? And so I learned to sell myself. I didn't always have to have the lowest price. And guys and gals, if you guys are out there selling, just know you don't have to have a product that has the lowest price. You have to have a product that you are attached to, that you will help people, that you become the contact person. I will always pay more for something if there's a person that I trust attached to that product or service. So what does that mean? My attorney, he's not cheap. He's not cheap at all. He'll probably watch this. He's probably $200 an hour more than any other attorney I could work with. But I choose to work with him. Why do I choose to work with him? Because I know that he is going to be the one solving my problems. All right. Why do, am I the cheapest when it comes to listing somebody's house? Am I going to? No, I never will be. Why? Because they're getting me. They're getting my expertise. They're getting my protection. They're getting my sphere of influence, right? So there are certain things that, so understand that if you are in sales, like I don't want to tell you that you have got to work for the cheapest brokerage, the cheapest insurance company, the cheapest car dealership, the cheapest insurance company. Like, no, what you want to do is become so amazing that people will pay whatever you charge. Now, I'm not saying like rip people off. So just know that, but just know that sales is the greatest thing in the world. And I would not be where I am today if I did not learn how to sell. You know, everybody told me, you will fail. You will fail. You will fail. You'll fail. I was the only, we were the #1 dealership, domestic dealership in the United States of America. It was Jim Johnson Chevrolet, Dallas, Texas, 1985. Our showroom floor made the Guinness Book of World Records because it was as big as a football stadium, a football field, not a stadium, a field. Okay. And we could put 90 cars on the showroom floor. And there might be bigger ones now, but at that point, Guinness Book of World Record, we were the #1 domestic dealer, meaning, you know, cars made in the USA. Is there even such a thing anymore? But back then there was. We had American pride. And it was me and one other girl. Her name was Billy. And Billy had been in the car business a lot longer than I had. And these guys did not want to hire me, but I was relentless. I wasn't relentless because I wanted to sell cars. I was relentless because I needed a car. All right. I needed a car. So I needed a job selling cars. But I look back and the hardship and how tough it was and the things I went through to work with the boys and learn how to sell cars. But what I really learned how to sell, and it was me, was the fact that my clients rooted for me. My clients wanted me to win. I wanted my clients to win. Like, it was an amazing relationship. And that's where I learned it. And what are we at now? 40 years later? God, 40 years later. But yes, I still want my clients to win. And so, you know, you will be great in sales. Now, this is what I told these women from all over the world, like, because the principles of great sales don't change. I don't care if you're in London, South Africa, Canada, America, Ukraine, like, it doesn't matter. Yeah, we had a gal on there from Ukraine. All right. It doesn't matter. What matters is, what are you bringing to the table? What are you doing for you to be the best representation for your product or service? All right. So I'm going to give you my 5 tips. The 5 things that I told this group, the 5 things that I fundamentally believe that will make you the best at your game. And the #1 is to get known. My good friend Grant Cardone says, best known beats best. But if people don't know what you do, how do they do business with you? And it isn't enough just to get known. It is to be top of mind. So that when you know, because what I do believe about social media, whether people comment, they like, they do whatever, they're watching. I've learned that for years. I have people that will come up to me in restaurants. They'll come up to me, insane. Back when my first grandson was born, people would come up to my daughter in restaurants and say, oh, that's Eli. We see him on Lisa's social media. That's why you don't see near as much of my grandkids on social media as I used to do, because it almost got weird because too many people knew my grandkids, and, you know, my daughter did not love that. And I don't blame her. I didn't love it either. So I'm a lot more guarded about what I put out on social now when it comes to my personal life or my family life. But you've got to get known. Like, you've got to be the top of mind person. So think about it. You know, you want, when people are at a cocktail party and they're talking about the fact, hey, I'm thinking about buying a new car. You know, and these group of people are sitting around talking, you know, and, you know, you want it to be like, you know, there's this gal, Lisa Copeland, you know, I follow her on social media and she seems to be the end all be all when it comes to selling cars. Or I need a great new insurance company. I need a CPA. I need an attorney. I need a real estate agent. I need this. I need that. Like, you've got to be top of mind in your sphere of influence. And I don't believe, and I've done very well on social media, but I believe that 1,000,000% you're top of mind when you bring value to your sphere of influence. Okay. So it isn't about just posing pictures and looking pretty. Like, that's fine. You know, I'm not knocking anybody that's their strategy, but I can tell you that's not my strategy. My strategy is to be unequivocally the authority in my space. And it was whether when I was in the automotive industry, I was the authority in the automotive industry. I knew what the trends were, but I had a very defined market. My market was the micro car segment. I knew who my client was. My client were women. The majority of my clients were women. So I became an authority in that space. I became an authority when it came to that consumer. I became an authority when it came down to that particular segment of cars. Like, I didn't need to be an authority on Ford trucks. I didn't compete against Ford trucks. But boy, I'll tell you what, I knew more about Mini Coopers than the Mini Cooper salesperson did. I knew more about the little Ford Focus. Anything that competed in our micro car segment, I knew more about that competitor than I believe that they knew about themselves. And why? Did I want to sell against them? Of course. But more importantly, I wanted to serve my clients. And I think that people need to be able to make a good decision so that they're happy with their decision. You want people to, whatever product and service that you present to them, you want it to be the best for them, because you want to build a business. You don't want to build just a transaction log, right? I've never been a transactional salesperson. Like, if I help you, you become family to me. You become somebody, like, I'm going to go down every road with you. I'm going to make sure that what is the competition? What does that look like? What's best for you? And sometimes, many of you that'll watch this, I have told you over the years, now, not the right car for you, not the right house for you. If I was you, I would do this. Not the right mortgage for you. I can't help you to the level that I think you need. I'm very, very transparent with people about that. Why? Because that's what builds a business. And so you've got to get known for that. You have to be known for something or you'll fall for anything. Now, by getting known means you have to have opinions. That means you have to stand for something. So will you alienate people? Absolutely. That's okay. They're still watching. Just believe me when I tell you that. I have had people that I've got a client right now, and she's like, I could not disagree with you more when it comes to what you post about politics. I'm like, okay, cool. My page, my kingdom. You got your page, your kingdom. It's all good. She said, but you are the one to get my deal done. You are the one to get my house sold. And I know that. She's like, I fundamentally like you. I said, I like you too. She's like, man, I think you're off base. I'm like, I'm not, but okay. And, and we could have that dialogue. But at the end of the day, I am the right person to get her house sold. I do have what it takes to sell this property. And so I'm not saying go out there and get just polarize the whole world. And I might have done that a few times, getting riled up about stuff, but become so well known as an expert in your industry, whether you're in cars, whether you're insurance, mortgage, financial services. I don't care if you sell earrings, right? If you're an entrepreneur, own that space and be that authority. All right. So number one was to get known. Number two is to know your purpose. And I want you to think about purpose. When Renee Bangelsdorf and I wrote the book, Crushing Mediocrity, our first chapter was purpose. You see, because I believe that if you believe that what you do matters, it will get you through your toughest days. And so the question I would beg you to ask yourself is, what would you do if money didn't matter? If money didn't matter, what would be your dream job? Would you have your own nonprofit? Would you, which is what I would do, by the way. If money didn't matter, and if I just had all the money in the world, I would have a nonprofit for women and for women entrepreneurs. And I would bring women in by the droves, and I would show them how to build a multi-million-dollar machine, because I know how to do it in my sleep. And that is my superpower. But all that costs money, right? So for me to do that, I have to coach. Anyways, I would have an entire university of just helping women entrepreneurs build a multi-million-dollar machine. So what would you do if money didn't matter? Would you have a school? Would you homeschool your kids? Would you have a school for homeschool kids? Would you start a church? Would you start a charity? Like, what would you do if money didn't matter? So I think back to when I put that whole purpose into place was when I was in the auto industry, and my purpose was to help women, minorities, and millennials, all right, redefine, restructure the auto industry. Meaning, I believe the auto industry is one of the greatest industries in the world where people can go in and they can earn a really amazing income. And you don't have to have a 4-year degree. You don't have to have this and that. You just really have to be a good person. You've got to be great at sales. You have to represent a really good product. You have to follow through. You have to do what you say you're going to do. You've got to work for an honest and ethical dealer. And if you do all of that and you put all those traits into a popcorn bowl, and you let's see, how do I want to say it? You become that authority on your product, and you become that champion for your dealership, that you will do really, really well. And so I wanted to revolutionize the auto industry. I wanted to go out there and say, you know what, this is not just an industry for white guys. All right. And I like white guys. I'm married to a white guy. So that I didn't have this like assault on men or on an industry, but in my mind, I'm like, we could expand this industry. We could be more inclusive and bring more people into the industry, because I feel like when you look at a sales force, whether it's for cars, insurance, mortgages, real estate, that your sales force, follow me on this, should mirror who the clients are. So I just didn't see that it made a lot of sense to have a bunch of white cowboys in Austin, Texas, selling a little micro car, a Fiat 500, at a high-end boutique, which is how we launched Fiat back to America, was at the Domain. I didn't feel like that would mirror the demographic of who was coming into my dealership. So I knew really quickly who was coming in. And it was the girls, the gays, young people, millennials, the cool crowd, the trendy people, but it was not cowboys. I can tell you that. And so you look at a lot of who sells Fords and Chevys and things. I'm not knocking cowboys. I'm married to one, but I'm just saying I knew that. So I was very intentional to hire a different demographic, to hire a sales force that mirrored who was coming into my dealership. Why did I do that? Number one, I wanted to show the world that every one of those folks, every one of those women, minorities, millennials, gays, everything, that they were worthy, that they could do this job. Number two, I thought it was the greatest opportunity on planet Earth. Number three, I wanted to service my clients. I wanted my clients to come into my dealership and feel at home. People like to do, you have to see it to be it. People want to do business with people that look like them. And I mean that from the fact that when a woman walks into a car dealership, she would love to work with a woman salesperson. But typically the ratio is it's less than 10%. Now, some of my great dealer friends have been very intentional over the years to hire more women. And there's a lot of reasons that there aren't more women in the car business, but I digress. But at the end of the day, women prefer to deal with women. Sometimes if you have a Hispanic client come in and they don't speak very good English, of course they want to speak with somebody who can speak their native language. Like I can go on and on about my philosophy behind that. Now, I take that same philosophy and I apply it to real estate. I apply it to insurance. I apply it to everything. So how my purpose drove me back in the day, right? My first purpose was even on my toughest days, and there were many, that I wanted to quit. I'm like, how can I do that? How do I quit? Because I'm quitting on a lot of people. I'm quitting on a really big purpose. I want to revolutionize the auto industry for women, minorities, and millennials. Like you can't quit on a purpose. You can quit a job any day of the week, y'all. Any day of the week, you can quit, but you can't quit on your purpose. So then parlayed into real estate, my purpose is to help families, people, communities build generational wealth in real estate, because I know, because I've done it myself, that real estate is the only way to build real wealth in this country. Okay, unless you inherit it or you have a great exit, which if you do, great, good for you, but you're in the 1%. There's 99% of people in America that don't have that option. And their only option, in my opinion, is real estate. And that takes many different forms, right? Many different forms. I'm not going to digress on that either. But so that is my purpose. So the days when I'm just like, oh God, I've had another one fall out of escrow, or oh, these people are tough, or God, the banks have gotten tough, or the economy is so screwed up, I don't want to do this anymore, I want to go do something different. I'm like, no, I can't do that. I can't quit on my purpose. I've helped hundreds of families and women, especially, which is my heart, but I love families and I love people. I just love people. I've shown them the path to build generational wealth. Like, that matters. I want people at my funeral to say, I'm a millionaire because of Lisa Copeland. I built generational wealth because of Lisa Copeland. And I know there's a lot of people now that would say that. Either they follow me, they listen to me, they attend my courses, they're on my team, they're my clients. They might just hear a podcast that I do, but they start a different path in life. How do you quit your purpose? So no matter on any given moment when I think, oh, this real estate thing is a grind, and people, believe me, at my level, it's a grind, and it can be some days, I can't quit my purpose. So number 2 is know your purpose. When you know your purpose, you will never quit on your toughest days. You won't. You won't. You will stick with it because you can never quit your purpose. Your purpose is why you were put on planet Earth. Okay? Makes sense? Number 3, you've got to build authentic relationships. And what does that mean? Like, I don't try to become friends with all my clients. That's not authentic. I serve all my clients. That's my job. That's my purpose. So, being authentic isn't trying to be everybody's friend. Being authentic, in my opinion, in business, okay, now I'm taking this to business and how to become, the greatest salesperson on planet Earth, is to build authentic relationships. And that means sometimes staying in your lane. I don't want to be everybody's friend. Why? Because sometimes I've got to tell you the truth. I have to tell people hard things, help them make hard decisions. And I don't need to have a friend hat on at that point, because friends sometimes won't tell you the truth. They're rooting for you. They want you to be happy. They want to cheer you on. Yay, friends. And I do that with my friends sometimes. And I don't want to have those hard conversations because I know that they have an expert in their corner that will have those hard conversations. But as somebody who is my client, my authentic relationship is that, today, right now, I am your real estate agent. That's a bad investment. I want to go on the record to tell you that's a bad investment. And the client's like, but I love that house. It's so cute. It's on the right street. It's down the street from my mother. I don't care where it is. It could be on Mars, and Elon Musk could be taking you there on SpaceX every day. It's a bad investment. Now, if you still want to buy it, that's on you. But my job's right. So that's an authentic relationship. A friend in that scenario would start buying into it. You're right. Oh my God, I know we could make that work. It's by your mom. You could walk, whatever that looks like. Okay. And so you've got to build authentic relationships. Number 4, and God, I mean, I almost want to put number 4 to number 1, but I got to put in some sort of order here. It's continuous learning. You've got to be a student. I have read 46 books. I could show you my Audible right now. So I've listened to them, which I call reading them because I'm always in the car. I've read 46 books since the beginning of the year. 30 of them are business books. And they're from people that I don't agree with because I want to just be able to talk back to my Audible. They're from people I highly recommend and that I believe in. But I am constantly learning. I'm constantly refining my approach. I'm constantly, leadership's a big thing to me. When you have as many people as I do that I'm responsible for, that I have to, that look to me to help them be more successful, I want to know every day how to lead better, how to be a better example, how to, all of it. I want to be the foremost authority on real estate. I want to understand everything that's going on in today's market so that when I open my mouth, it's not just my personal opinion, because I don't like a politician who's in office or I don't like whatever, a policy that's out there. I want it to be coming from a place of authority and from a place of, I've got to know that if I say something, the people that I'm helping build generational wealth, that it could affect decisions they make in the future. So if I'm trying to affect decisions people are making in the future to build generational wealth, I really have to take out my personal bias sometimes, which is so hard to do. Trust me. But I have to take out my personal bias, and I have to go back in with the facts, only the facts. And how do I get to those facts? How do I get to the place where I can say something? Okay. It's through learning. It's through reading. I spend hours a day reading and listening to stuff. I don't listen to the radio. I don't. I listen to podcasts of authorities. I listen, anyways, I spend just an incredible amount of time learning and sharpening my own tools because things change. Things change all the time. We live in an ever-changing world. So if you think that what was true yesterday is still true today, it's not. Especially in my world, real estate, finance, mortgages. I know, I have co-founded with the Cardones, Grant and Elena, Cardone Mortgage Group. I was out in California last week at mortgage school. I thought I left that a long time ago. Well, I'm back as the co-founder. And so, and I couldn't even believe last week when I was out in Cali how much has changed since I left the mortgage industry 12 years ago. Now, I still own a mortgage company. My husband runs it. I own 51% of it. But I'm not involved in the day-to-day operations. And so I came back and I was like, well, blah, 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 to my husband. He's like, I know all this. I live it every single day. But things change. And I guess that's what makes life and business interesting, is that nothing stays the same. So you've got to commit to continuous learning. And last but not least is you can never quit. And that's what I think ties in the purpose piece for me. Because if your purpose is big enough, if you believe that what you do matters, you can't quit on your purpose. I know that, I get emails and texts. I get so much communication from my followers all the time. I'm thinking about quitting, or I'm thinking about doing something different. And I'm always like, okay, whoa. Before you make any of those decisions, what's your purpose? What's your purpose? Because if you quit, you've just quit on your purpose. And a lot of times what I find is people are like, I don't really have a purpose. I'm lost. I'm like, well, okay, until you find your purpose, until you believe that what you do matters, you're going to continue to drift. In the book Outwitting the Devil, which is just such an incredible book. If you guys have not read it, Sharon Lecter was from Napoleon Hill, and Sharon Lecter edited it. That's a lot. Edited the book. And she annotated it. And annotation is just where she kind of goes in and then kind of, wraps up and summarizes some of the things that Hill said. But, he talks about one of the things on the problems on planet Earth is when you become a drifter and you're drifting back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. And if you're drifting, and there's a lot of people drifting out there. Hey, we've all drifted. I've drifted. Okay. I'm not here to say I've figured out everything, but at this point in my life, I'm pretty solid on what I believe, what I know I'm going to do, and how I'm going to do it, because it ties to my purpose. But there was times in my life when I was younger and I drifted. I was only in it for the money. When I was running our mortgage company, I was only in it for the money. And it was fine. It did great. It afforded me a lifestyle that we wanted to live. But there was not a purpose behind it. So what did I do after 12 years? I quit. I told my husband, you can have this thing. I don't want to do this anymore. It's not fun. It was not fun. It was hard. We were doing a ton of loans and it was very stressful, and I had no purpose. So I quit. And then I did a couple other things. Then I went and, helped relaunch Fiat to America. So sometimes, all of that's fine, but it was really easy for me to walk away from that mortgage gig because the money couldn't keep me there anymore. And the money was great, but it didn't keep me there. And where would that company be today if I would have stayed? Who knows? Anyways, all of that being said, and my purpose might have kept me in the car business longer than I should have stayed. I don't know, but I couldn't quit my purpose. So all of that being said, never quit. Now you can quit a job. You can. Cool. Might not be the right job for you. But what I don't want you to quit is your purpose. I don't want you to quit on you. I don't want you to quit because times are going to be hard. And I'm going to say this out loud. And regardless of who wins this election, we have to keep going forward. Okay. I have a very definite opinion about what happens if this one wins or that one wins. And I'm not going to bore you with that today because we're here to talk about how to become phenomenal in sales. But at the end of the day, we've got to figure out a path forward. Okay. Our businesses have to figure out a path forward. Our country's going to have to figure out a path forward. So you now more than ever have got to be so resolute about what you do and why you do it. Because once you have that story, okay, you take that story and you tell that to your clients. When I tell a client, I'm not in this to make money, I will make money, but I'm here to do it because what powers me is to help people build generational wealth in real estate. That's what gets me up in the morning. And yeah, I get paid to do it, as I should, but that doesn't matter. That isn't your problem. What I get paid to do what I do. What you need to glom onto is that you're going to make a lot of money if you work with me. Okay? Because it's not, whatever product or service you're selling, it's not about you and you getting paid and your company being the greatest. It's how does that product or service or help the person you're sitting in front of? How does it make their life better? How does it make their life better? And if you can tie your purpose, why you do what you do, why you get up every single morning, why you fight the good fight for your clients, if you can tie that to how that will help your client, they don't care how much money you make. I have had clients say to me, God, I wish I could pay you more. Like, you can. And so I hope that this helps somebody. You pretty much got my speech, not all of it, obviously. But I hope that this helps somebody out there. I mean, I know that, the economy's bouncing around a little bit. Some sectors are doing better than other sectors. I'm in Texas, real estate's, bouncing back a little bit with this Fed cut. It isn't because of the Fed cut. I forget those words came out of my mouth. But sales is all a mind game. Okay. And you have got to believe in you. Number one. Number two, you've got to be an authority. You've got to get known. Who are the people you're selling to? You want to be the top of mind person. And you've got to believe that what you do matters. And then also, if you don't believe in your product or service, if you're selling, I don't know, Pintos. I don't want to pick on any of my car people, so I don't want to talk bad about any brands. But if you're selling a car that you don't believe in, go to a different store. Sell something you believe in. If you work for a real estate company and you don't believe in them, go somewhere else. If you work for a mortgage company or a bank or an insurance company and you don't believe in what they do, why they do it, how they do it, and you don't feel, then go somewhere else. And so it doesn't mean you're not quitting your purpose if you have to change organizations potentially, because they may not be serving your purpose. All right. So I hope that makes sense. And then never quit. You can't quit on yourself and you can't quit on your purpose. So I hope that this helps somebody today. I really do. I love, my followers. You guys are so great to me. You do business with me. You support my team. You support me. You've always supported me. So many of you on here bought cars from me, and then now you've bought real estate from me. And I can't even tell you how much I appreciate that. Just your support. And so anytime I've got something of value that I want to bring to you, I try to come on here and hope that you'll listen to this. If you found value in this, share this out to your communities and to your sales communities. And I'm always here to serve if I can help you. So I hope you guys have a great, great weekend. And I'll be back soon. Bye.